What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. My name is Rob, and today, From Software is kicking ass and taking names. So today's news centers around the supposed leak and rumors of Dark Souls 3, which apparently a couple of screenshots had showed up online. This news was actually broken by a Rooster Teeth show called The Know that's available on YouTube. I had never actually heard of it. I've been familiar with Rooster Teeth for a while, but apparently some of those dudes have been putting together this show called The Know. And I went ahead and checked out the episode. I'm going to link this below so you can check it out and see where this information came from. And these guys had an amazing 7-minute episode where they revealed a bunch of screenshots of Dark Souls 3, or what is, purported to be Dark Souls 3. Apparently, there's not really any sort of information that counteracts this. It seems like this is 100% guaranteed and confirmed according to their information. The screenshots look amazing, and they look absolutely 100% like Dark Souls 3. They had a bunch of information. There's stuff like there's 12 areas to go through, 10 character classes to pick from right from the beginning, information about, there's 1 to 4 players available, which would be a first time for the series if, in fact, you could go to 4 players at one time. So all of this information really seems to lead us to believe that this is real, true info. I have to say that this is beyond exciting. I will admit that I love Dark Souls. You might have heard me talk about it a few times on Rule of Two Review in the past. Of course, with Bloodborne having just come out a couple of months ago, I have raved about it incessantly because it is one of the best games I've ever played. I feel like it is the best game that From Software has ever made, and I say that as somebody who liked the Dark Souls and Demon Souls. I really barely dabbled with Demon Souls, but I did like the little bit that I played. Dark Souls 1 and 2 were freaking awesome, and somehow they managed to make an even better game with Bloodborne. So I think that they have a really strong pedigree, and I am somebody who enjoys the games that they've been making, and that's kind of why I wanted to discuss a little bit of Dark Souls 3, but more than anything, From Software as a development studio. So as you could probably gather from the title of this video, what I'm excited about is From Software and how these guys are developing games and releasing them to the gaming public. I feel like they are showing that in an industry that's mired in delays and broken games and games that aren't living up to the initial hype or what was first shown at a trailer or on stage at an E3 press conference, From Software is showing that they can deliver the goods every single time exactly the way gamers want their games to turn out, and they can do it consistently. That's probably the most impressive part. So what am I talking about? Well, what I mean is the fact that From Software managed to complete the first Dark Souls a few years ago. Within, I think, 2 to 3 years, Dark Souls 2 had one teaser trailer at some point at E3, probably 2012 or so, disappeared from the radar, and within another year, Dark Souls 2 released. And now, Dark Souls 2 released just, last year. Literally, last year, Dark Souls 2. This year, in February, Bloodborne, their next game and their spiritual successor to the Dark Souls franchise, released to rave reviews. Every single site or magazine that reviewed that game absolutely loved it and praised it. Most of the gamers who went out to play and purchase this game absolutely love it, myself included. So they're delivering the goods. Dark Souls 2, considered one of the best games ever made. Bloodborne, even better than that. And here we are now, Bloodborne being just a couple of months old, and all of a sudden we have this information and screenshots about their next game, which is another game in the Dark Souls series. And these screenshots, if you look at them below, they look good. They look almost complete. I feel like this game, for all we know, is meant to be revealed at E3 just next week. Or actually, sorry, about a week and a half from now. And I'm sure that they plan on revealing it, and the rumor is that it's going to release in 2016. That means that within 3 years, they will have released a game. And again, for anyone who might not be familiar with the Dark Souls games, or at least having played them, these are deep games. These are complete games. These are games that have so much going on, tons to do, an incredibly deep level up system, so much strategy to the combat. I mean, these games are not churned out and they're not half-assed. They spend their time with these games. They do not come out and feel incomplete. There's so much going on here. So to deliver one game every couple of years, in and of itself would be impressive. This is not Assassin's Creed. This isn't just the same old crap recycled and regurgitated with a slightly different setting and a couple of new mechanics. These games have a shit ton going on behind the scenes. So you get 3 years in a row where you get Dark Souls 2, then you get Bloodborne, then you get Dark Souls 3, if that really is true and it does deliver next year. That is insane. And to know that From Software already has this stuff prepared, ready to go, and ready to show and unveil to the public just months after they released their most recent game in Bloodborne is amazing. No studio is doing anything like this. The best studios in the business, Valve, Rockstar, Nintendo, I don't care who you're talking about, nobody is doing this like these guys right now. And I do think that they are showing up the rest of the industry. Again, that's the purpose of this video, is to show that we don't have to sit here like we have been with like every Final Fantasy game for decades, where it's like we're just hoping and wondering, are we going to see anything? And even if we see anything, how far until the game releases? I mean, look at how studios treat some games like this. Look at The Last Guardian. I mean, these games show up and then they disappear, and studios don't know how the fuck to finish them, and they don't know when the hell to show us any information. Nintendo, my favorite company, is just as guilty. We got Zelda revealed last year, and then all of a sudden it's going away for who knows how long. We don't know if it's coming out on the current system or their next system. It's not going to show up at E3 all of a sudden. It got delayed till next year. We've been waiting for Metroid for flippin' ever. Star Fox was revealed last year, but we didn't see a goddamn thing about it. So it just shows that all of these companies don't really know how to make their games at a timely fashion. We're waiting to see what Retro Studios has been doing. I mean, it seems like, I should say, most studios don't understand how to deliver us content and how to show us what they're making and that it's coming. And here we have From Software making games that, again, obviously aren't half-assed because they're releasing to rave reviews, both from critics and gamers alike. And here they are, ready to knock another one out of the park. It's not like, oh, we finished Bloodborne, so we're going to take a couple of years before we're ready to show our next project. If Dark Souls 3 is in the state that it looks like from these screenshots and the information that's being leaked, this game, they've been working on this game for a long time. You'd have to think that a lot of the folks that were involved with the Dark Souls series moved on to make Bloodborne, and they were able to finish Dark Souls 2 and then have Bloodborne ready to go just within the next year. That in and of itself is impressive. And here we are now with Dark Souls 3 potentially already ready to go, with Bloodborne having just been finished. They really are. I don't know if they're moving the same guys back and forth between games, and so like a lot of the same people working on Dark Souls moved to Bloodborne, and now those guys are moving back to Dark Souls 3. But you got to think that they have a very large and efficient team of guys who just know how to make the games that From Software is trying to make. And they're probably delegating the workload perfectly so that you got a couple of guys working on each project at any given time. And you probably have maybe a group of people who are also moving from each team in each game as that game is ready to release, so that once they finish one game, they move back to the other project. So you got a group of guys working on Dark Souls 2, and then a group of guys working on Bloodborne. And as soon as Dark Souls 2 is done, a bunch of those guys move on to help finish Bloodborne, and the rest of those guys move on to Dark Souls 3. And then now that Bloodborne is done, a bunch of those guys have probably moved back over to now finish Dark Souls 3, so that the other guys left from Bloodborne are probably working on whatever else they have next. And I know this seems like a silly thing to probably make a video about, and a lot of this is spawned by the fact that I'm just a huge fan of From Software and the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games. But at the same time, I'm just a fan of games. And all these game companies, there's a lot of studios out there that I love, but it's frustrating that we get information, either we don't get enough information about a game that we're excited about, or we get information so early in advance that it disappears and for another year or two before we see anything, like a release date. Who knows when Final Fantasy 15 is going to come out? And that game was first revealed 2 years ago, and we've seen almost nothing since. Yes, we got a playable demo recently, but apparently that wasn't very good, and it's not like it's given us any sort of idea or indication as to when to really expect the game. I guarantee it's not going to release this year, and would we be surprised if it didn't release next year? No, I think everyone almost sees that coming. And so it's just frustrating that so many companies can't do this, but it is remarkable and impressive, for me at least, to see a company like From Software doing this with games that are of the utmost quality. That is the last fact I want to leave everybody with, is this isn't like a lot of the shovelware games that come out nowadays. This isn't a Just Dance or a Wii Play or a Carnival Games or anything. This is fucking Dark Souls and Bloodborne. This is like the deepest, most brutal, grueling, hardcore shit we could possibly play as gamers in the action RPG genre. And they're coming out, and From Software just knows what people want. And it's like these guys understand people want information, they want trailers and screenshots, they want release dates, and they want it at a steady pace. And they don't want to wait 5 years for all of these new games to come out, And so, to me, I guess, you could sort of argue like, oh, it's going to become like Call of Duty where they release a game every year, or like Assassin's Creed, which I just compared it to a couple of minutes ago. And I think that that's what this is showing, is that this isn't that. they're going from, one studio to another, or not one studio, one game to another game within the same studio. And they're going from Dark Souls to Bloodborne back to Dark Souls. And are they going to go to something else after Dark Souls 3? Maybe Bloodborne 2? Maybe just another brand new game and a new IP? I think they've shown that with Bloodborne, they could make probably any sort of new IP they want. And if they make it good and they make it true to the From Software formula, that they'll knock it out of the park and everyone will love it. And I just feel like, there's just no one else doing this right now, at least on this scale. On the indie scale, maybe, but as far as on this scale, which is almost AAA kind of stuff, no one else is doing this, man. Not even my favorite companies, not even Nintendo. And I just think that From Software deserves a good pat on the back and a lot of credit. So, granted, again, this is all sort of speculative. We don't really know that these screenshots are real. We don't really know that it's Dark Souls 3, and we don't really know if it's going to be revealed next week at E3. But I feel like it is. I think that it's all three of those things, and I think that we can definitely be excited. So, assuming that all this stuff is true, From Software, you just win an A+ for me, man. Thank you guys so much for being so awesome and already having Dark Souls 3 ready to go next year. Oh my God, I just can't even believe it. I'm so excited. I think a lot of gamers are going to be really excited and happy with you if, in fact, this turns out to be true. So that's it. I really just wanted to share that I think that From Software is just killing it right now, and I appreciate a studio that can do what they do at as fast of a clip as they seem to be doing it. It's just unprecedented with that level of game quality and game design, so it's really appreciated. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe to Rule of Two Review, like, share, and comment about Dark Souls 3 and From Software below. Thanks as always for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time on another video for Rule of Two Review.